Hi everybody, my name's Carrie from the Frog Project and I am here today to talk to you about something that has come up a lot in conversation with my students or with the Frog Project students, with my friends, with family, also for myself. And I wanted to share something that I learnt that comes from yoga philosophy that is very helpful for helping us to deal with the topic of time management. Now, this is always timely because time is something, especially in our society, that we often feel a lack of. We feel it's a scarce resource, and really it's the only thing that we have. In my life, I have really experienced anxiety over the idea of time management and having too much to do in a day or a week or a month. And this practice that I'm about to share with you has really helped me to take the pressure off. That's the most important thing, okay? Do not compete with yourself. Time management is a practice of a lifetime. My teacher shared this with me actually quite recently, and it really just has changed everything for me and the way I think about things. So you're always going to have a list of jobs to do. Don't compete with yourself. They're not going to go away. Okay, so time management is the practice of a lifetime. Take it one step at a time. And if you have 10 minutes now, then join me for this wonderful exercise, okay? It's something you can do in your own notebook or a nice big piece of paper or your journal or wherever you have time to space to scribble something down. And I'm going to share it with you now. So it's called your Purushata. And your Purushata is your purpose of life, okay? Your 4 purposes of life. So I'm going to write it down here, your Purushata. And what I'd like you to do is to separate your paper into 4 columns. So I have my whiteboard here. Okay, my trusty teaching days are playing a role. So I have 4 columns. Okay, this is your 4 purposes of life, or your Purushata. Okay, in column 1, you can call it Dharma or duty. Okay, your Dharma or your duty. Now, take a moment and write down all the things that you have to do in a day. Okay, all the things you have to do in a day. So you have to eat, you have to sleep, you have to work, you probably have to cook, maybe you have to shop, maybe you have childcare. It's funny how we call it childcare, parenting duties. Maybe you're a carer, maybe you have a family member that you look after. Okay, all of the things you have to do. You exercise. Okay, these are your duties. These are your hats. If you watched my other video on your duties, your circle of duties, you should check it out. Okay, these are all the different hats you wear. These are all the different things you have to do on a day-to-day basis. Okay, maybe you study, maybe you go to school, I don't know, but what do you do? This is your list, so you can make your own list of what you do. The second thing you do is called your Arta, okay, and your Arta is also your security. Okay, so what do you do to ensure that you have security in your life? Because as people, we have to have security. We have to live with certain rules, certain constraints. We have to make money if we live in this society, okay? So your security might be your earning, your livelihood, okay? It might be your work. Those two are very linked. It might be your relationships. A lot of people spend time managing their relationships to help ensure that they are secure. It might be acquiring skills. So maybe you spend time studying or learning to acquire skills to ensure you are secure. The same might be knowledge. You might spend time reading, listening to podcasts to ensure that you have what you need to be secure. It might be things regarding ensuring you're respected or your status within your society. So all of these things are linked to your security. Okay, the biggest one here, I'm sure for most of us, is this work and earning. Okay, the biggest one and the first thing is probably eating, sleeping, childcare if that's what you do, exercise, and obviously your work and your study, but there's definitely overlaps here. All right, so make a little bit of a list and see what it looks like. And then your third column is your karma, okay? And your karma is what you do for pleasure. This is your recreation, your hobbies. So when your Dharma list is checked off, if you have time, what do? Okay, what are your hobbies? This often can involve moving the body, cycling, running, practicing yoga, maybe cooking, maybe gardening. Okay, so what are your hobbies? Do you read? Do you knit? What do you practice that gives you your time out? Okay, do you travel? What are your hobbies? So make a list of the things that really float your boat. And then the final one is your moksha. Okay, now moksha is a Sanskrit word that means liberation. And this is referring to your spiritual growth. What do you do to learn? How do you learn? How do you grow? How do you develop? So this is maybe your meditation. This is maybe your yoga practice. Some people listen to podcasts and that helps them. Reading can really help here too. But sitting in quiet contemplation is where we're going here. Journaling, having a gratitude practice, all of these things help to ensure that you have this spiritual practice. Okay, so let's just highlight the things that are probably most significant in hobby. So we're here in number 3, we're talking about your hobbies, okay? And then number 4, we're talking about your practice of meditation, okay? What is it you do to meditate? Some people sit, some people do yoga, some people do something else. So there we go. There we have it. Your 4 purposes of life. Now, hopefully you have something in each of these columns. And just take a moment, okay, to say, you got 24 hours in your day. How many hours do you spend on each column? So be honest. Maybe one column is 0 right now. On the average day, what do? How many hours do you spend? Okay, obviously number 1 has sleep, so that's got a lot in it, okay? But how many hours do you spend if you were to separate your 24 hours over these 4 columns? Be honest with yourself and take a moment to reflect on where you're at and how can you rebalance? Or how can you tie things in together? Okay, so this is a way to be sure that you are ticking all your boxes. Is there anything in this picture that you don't need? Is there anything missing that you really love? Where can you not necessarily cheat, but where can you get assistance if you need? Where can you share duties if you need? To be sure that you have time every day, even if it's just for 10 minutes, to do something for yourself, your hobby, even if it's just going out. My friend does this after the kids go to bed. She gardens at night. I think that's a beautiful practice. I take a bath in the middle of the day, not the middle of the day, but kind of 5 p.m, just a couple of days a week. I leave the kids with my husband and I go and I sneak off, and it's for 20 minutes, but it lifts me. So where do you give yourself permission to take a break? And where do you learn? How do you learn? Where do you reflect and where do you contemplate? Do you practice yoga? Do you practice meditation? Do you journal? Do you have a gratitude list? And I'm not saying you have to have all these things, and certainly not every day, but maybe look at this over a week, and can you tick different boxes at different times? So this is a wonderful exercise to lay down everything and to try to bring some perspective, some balance to your life as things begin to change. And it might be helpful to do this exercise for a period 6 months ago. Maybe you can reflect or project into the future and draw one that you'd like to be more balanced, more realistic. And then you have 3 different markers: where you were, where you are, and where you want to be. And use this as support to better manage your time. I hope you find this helpful. I hope it releases some of the burden, some of the stress. It certainly did for me when I first did this exercise, and I've repeated it every year since I started a few years ago, and it's helpful. Logically, it makes a lot of sense. Physically, practically, it's much more difficult, of course. But the most important lesson here we can learn is to take the pressure off of ourselves. Nobody is superhuman, and everybody needs a break. Don't wait for your next holiday to take some time out. Okay, take it out, 5 minutes here and there, just for you. I'll leave you there, but if you have any questions, any thoughts, any feedback, anything you'd like to share, please do be in touch. I hope you find it helpful, and good luck with everything.